Hi, it's Denise, and I think it's time for another front porch garden tour. Let's get it started. Welcome to This and That with Denise Jordan. I teach women how to make wise home health and beauty decisions so there's less chaos in their homes, they lead healthier lives, and they feel beautiful from the inside out. And today we're doing another little garden walk. I have been away from my garden for a week. I got one of my neighbors to come over and water for me, but I have just been so worried thinking, what am I going to find when I get home? And not that I didn't trust her, but it's just that I haven't been away from my garden before at this time of the year. So let's take a look at how things are looking. We'll start here leading up to the front walk, since that's where I always start. And I can see here that the dianthus, or the blooms, are really starting to come on very slowly now. So I'll probably be giving those a little haircut soon. And then over here, these little violas are continuing to grow nicely. And look at my fountain grass. It's just really coming up. I've got this patch in the center that's always a little, I don't know, short. I guess it just didn't grow over very well, but it's starting to come up nicely. And then my pansies in the baskets in the front are still doing okay. They probably are going to get moved this week because it's been so hot and they're just not as vibrant as they once were. They're starting to look a little worn around the edges, except for this one. This one has always done beautifully, and it usually sits on the other side of my yard, but I tried to move everything over in as close as possible so my neighbor wouldn't have to run around so much. And it seems to like this spot right here because it's doing beautifully. And then this container here continues to do nicely. The geranium needs to be plucked. And look, there is a weed in there. Let's get that out. Get that out. And then this bloom can come off. There, it's looking better already. And I need to do a little deadheading there. Oh, and my bird is not out. Let me grab Red and put him back up there. There we go. I take him in at night and put him out first thing in the morning. And I just love the way he looks there. Let's give him a little rock. There he goes. Okay, so as we come over here, these little violas here, I guess they're doing okay. But this double container garden, oh my goodness, is it not gorgeous? Look at how beautiful it is. I mean, look at this just spilling out. And then look at these. They have just really come on nicely. The Dusty Miller, the petunias, and these pentas, which the hummingbirds just love. The hummingbirds love all of these, so I just can't get over how great they're doing. And I put this grass in for the first time this year, and it's coming along okay too. Not as hardy as it would if it was by itself, but it's doing just fine. And then look at the other side of it. So these little, tiny little super bells are just coming along nicely. So I am loving this planter. It's gone crazy. I love it. And you can barely see my little mice underneath that says being friends is nice. So, and this is the pot of oregano that I brought from the back patio. And looks like there's a few things growing in there that shouldn't be. But I put it up here because this one really suffers from the sun. It needs to be watered twice a day because it's just so huge. So I put it out here on the porch so it'd be a little bit sheltered. And then this little baby is doing well too. Just a few begonias and some petunias right here in the center. I just wanted something pretty and tiny. And it's coming along nicely. This is continuing to do well. And this Gerbera Daisy has put on some new blooms, so I'm pretty pleased with what's been happening here. And of course, that's faux. And then let's take a look at what's going on in this container over here. You can just barely tell that that's a container. I mean, it is just so overgrown. Look at that. These are just spilling out, and I'm loving those dreamsicles. They are spilling out so nicely. And then look at these sweet potato vines. My goodness, I can't believe how huge they've grown. But I've watered them once a week with some Miracle Grow liquid fertilizer, and then of course I put some in the soil when I planted them, and they're just doing great. And again, the grasses are coming up nicely. Here's my pentas, they're doing well. What else is in here? See, these are the dreamsicle superbenias. Oh, looks like there's some verbena there. Nope. The osteosperma, that's what that is right there. Pink osteosperma. So this pot has just grown bananas. And just let me show you. There's the pot underneath there. And this is the Lysimachia that's kind of spilling out of it and hiding the pot itself. Down here is just some little bitty violas that I put in, and look, here's another little maple tree. I'm going to take that out and plant it in a pot because I need another tree in the backyard. And then here's some pansies that are growing in my little turtle. There's my other little turtle that's the companion. And then this pot here, again, it's doing nicely. There's a little bit of violas with these beautiful petunias, and then this lavender. And like I said, I haven't tried lavender here before. It seems to be doing okay. So I'm liking that. And then this plant is a little dry. I have to water this one twice a day, but it survived the week with the every other day watering given by my neighbor, so I'm pleased with that. So let me just back up and let you get a good look. So there's that. I mean, it's just really looking very nice. And there's something that's new. It's a shade container that I planted. And it's doing nicely too. It's been here about 2 weeks. And these are Turinias, which are perfect for shade. And then, so this is a kind of a purple Turinia. These are more of a pinky color. And the little purple there. This is a chocolate man begonia. And I planted this particular container because I wanted the variations in foliage. But look at the sweet little blooms that are coming on that. Here's a coleus here. This fountain grass, again, that purple fountain grass. And then this is a heuchera. And it's doing nicely. So that's the thing, you know, you go away and you wonder how are things going to do while you're gone. And it's doing beautifully. And that's my shade container there. And then this one, which was one of those kind of spring pots that you get that are all put together, except where I added this one, is doing nicely. This particular coleus here in the front has just really gotten huge. So look at that. Now this one's been kind of a puzzle. It's just not doing as well as it normally does. This grass is doing great. And these aren't growing like they normally do. I've got nice foliage and I need to trim them back because the blooms are spent that's on them. But you can see there's like a little hollow place in here. I had to take out the flamethrower coleus, and there was some verbena in there, some snow-capped verbena. Neither one of them did well, so I took those out and I added this heuchera. This verbena here in the front is doing fine, and I added this sweet potato vine, which is doing fine, and I want it to stay kind of small. Here's some Turinia here. I put some Turinia over here, but I'm going to have to replace something right there. So I'll get to doing that sometimes later today. Not sure what. That's usually been one of my best performing containers, but this year it's just not taking off like it normally does. So I'll have to sort that out. And then when we come down here, this one is continuing to do well. It's gone bananas, actually. I mean, look at these dreamsicle, little dreamsicles. Oh, shoot, I forgot what they are. Let's see. My Super Bells Dreamsicle, they're calibrachia, and they are loving right where they are. And then right next to those, we've got the Super Tunia Royal Velvets, which are doing great. And then this white Verbena is just doing wonderfully now. It didn't do well in that other pot, but look how it's doing here. And then my Nicotiana is continuing to do well. And then look at this grass. It is loving it. I mean, it looks like that's the best grass in the pot that I've got going so far. So out of all the pots, this grass is doing best. And it gets sun like directly down from there. So I am really liking this. And then way in the back, which you can barely see peeking out, is an angel wing begonia. Look at there. Isn't that gorgeous? But it seems to like where it is. And then over here, this arrangement is continuing to grow nicely. This one, for some reason, tends to lean over. It gets it's kind of heavy to one side. You can see the Dusty Millers coming up inside with these Verbena over there. And then, of course, that Regal Geranium, which you can see. And I added just a few little begonias just for a little bit of color. And they're doing nicely. So this planter is doing okay. And I really like the way it looks against the backdrop of that huge shrub back there. My husband hates that bush. He always likes to cut it down, way down. But I like for it to grow up kind of tall and wild. And it provides a shade corner right here on the porch. And the birds love it. And then in the fall, there's some little red berries on it that the birds like to eat. And then over here, it looks like something's been up here. I don't know. Chipmunks like to run around over in this corner. So they've knocked this over. Unless we got a real healthy rain and wind. Gonna have to get this back in the pot today, so I'll work on that. But those little begonias there, they look cute. They're doing nicely, except the one that's been knocked over. So that's it for the porch. So we see how things are looking here on the front porch. Let's take a walk around the back and see how things are going back there. Well, this area here is looking okay. These shrubs continue to grow. Looks like I got some thistles growing up in there that I've got to get out. And my little Diablo 9 bark is doing nicely. And I've got just a little bit of a squirrel statuary there. And there's a few weeds in there that I need to get out. But that piece is doing okay. I'm a little concerned about this tree. It hasn't started to put on any buds yet. So I think I might have lost it over the winter. So if that's the case, I'm going to get my husband to take it out, and maybe I'll put in a Japanese maple. We'll see. And then over here, you can see where my lilies have bloomed. My columbines have died down, and I'm going to enlarge this space here. You can see where I've killed off the grass around there. And the columbines dried out while I was gone, and I wasn't sure if these were going to be some flowers that I had planted last year. I didn't want to take them out just in case, but I'm thinking those now are weeds, so those are coming out. But those lilies are looking good. And I planted these little things one year. I don't know what I was thinking, but they're there. And then there's a little sweet little columbine there that's coming up. And looks like there's something been digging there too. I don't know. I've got rabbits that are burrowing in, and I'm going to have to figure that out. Now here's my fairy garden. And it's looking good. And then here's my bird garden, and it's looking pretty good too. Only there's some things in here that are certainly growing up that I don't recall putting in here. When I left to go on vacation, those sunflowers there were just very small. And I didn't plant those. The seeds dropped from the feeder. So we've got those. And these, which I thought were blanket flowers, which I still think are blanket flowers. They're either that or cone flowers. They're starting to come up pretty good. But it looks like something's been eating in here because I've got a lot of... Like, look at this. I've got a lot of that. Like, maybe the rabbits have been in here. And then this is doing okay in the pot here, so I can't complain about that. There's a new sunflower. But look at this one. Something's bit that off in half, so I got to get my rabbit to turn it back out. Here was my Asiatic lily, my, let's see what it was called. Orange Joy Asiatic lily. And all the blooms are off of it now. It was beautiful when I left. This coneflower is starting to bloom, so I'm loving that. And look at my lavender. They're really blooming nicely. I mean, things are really blooming nicely in here. The crane's bill. The blanket flowers. And look at this sweet little poppy. Gosh, I love that color. So everything's doing well. As well as the weeds. So I've got quite a bit of work cut out for me. But that's doing well there. I'm liking that. But there's like a little hole right here where the bunnies have been burrowing in. I don't know. I'm going to have to get those out of there. I'm going to figure out what to do. Baby's breath is doing okay. It looks like that ought to be lavender, but it's baby's breath. But look at that. That's beautiful. And the bees are really enjoying it. You can hear the pollinators. You can hear them. So things are looking good back here. So I can't complain. My neighbor came over and watered, and she did a beautiful job because things are still alive. Look at this. Just like a little carpet. But I've got this. I think these are the Blue Moon Grape Punch. And then just the Simple White Super Petunias. But it's just really done nicely. I'm loving it. My little pink zinnias over there. And then, of course, more weeds. And then look at those moss roses. They're kind of a coral color. The ones down here are yellow. But these are a coral color. More weeds. So I'll be busy for the next few days. And then look at these little marguerite daisies. Aren't they gorgeous? I just love daisies. And again, poppies. This red poppy is just beautiful. It's growing better than the other ones. And it bloomed a lot later too, so I'm liking that. And there are my sundrops back there, my Ornithoria. And again, those, I think Veronicas or whatever you call them, they're there. And then look at those little Superbells Calabrachia. They're doing nicely there. So things are looking good. And then these are some lilies that I brought back from Kentucky. They're growing nicely. And look at these. They were just like half dead. I got them at Lowe's on the dollar shelf. I stuck them in here just to see what they do. Gave a good haircut, and now look at that. They're coming up nicely. More lilies coming up there. Sunflower, and then I need to get those in the ground. So I got my work cut out for me. Well, I hope you enjoyed this update of my front porch garden and my bird garden. As you can see, I've got a lot of work ahead of me, but I think going away was worth it. But now it's time to get back to it. So my question for you today is, how much garden work do you have to do? Have you been away and then come back to a lot of things that you got to take care of? Tell me in the comment section below. Oh, and before I go, just so you know, I've raised 3 children. I've managed a home for more than 45 years, and I'm a nurse by profession. So if you want to learn more about running a household, cooking, cleaning, laundry, planning, and health and beauty, subscribe. I'd love to have you as a member of the TNT community. In the meantime, this is Denise Jordan saying goodbye. I'll see you in the next video.